Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have for you game 1 in a best of 3 between Cadilakor and Gonzo in the quarterfinals of the Steel Division League Code S. Today the map is Pointe, and on the Allied side Cadilakor is using the Demi-Brigade SAS, and on the Axis side Gonzo has the 116th Panzer. So, Gonzo going to be very scary in this one, I'm sure. The 116th is a division that he's very well known for, and he is very proficient with it. He has a much higher success rate with that division than pretty much anyone else I've seen, so we'll have to see if he can continue that sort of success in this game. However, this is Pointe, and Cadilakor has the Demi-Brigade SAS. Now this is really good for Cadilakor since there are many tree lines and infantry really does win out on a map like this. He can cover all of those rows with things like FFI partisans and also the rallies with the Panzer, and he will generally have more infantry availability than the 116th Panzer. So how Gonzo deals with that, we'll have to wait and see. But it will probably come down to an aggressive push on one side of the map or the other. Now, one thing I have been asked to do is mention which groups the players came out of into the finals in order to give some sort of representation to different regions. In this case, it's going to be 2 European players. We have Cadilakor and Gonzo both coming from the European group. Now, the groups don't necessarily represent where the players come from. In some cases, there are outliers. For example, I think Pointe is from Poland, but he is in the Asia group, so it's a bit mixed up. But either way, I will mention it briefly so you guys have an idea. So today, let's have a look at some of the units going down. Cadilakor on the left side here has the FFI traction with the partisans on the top side. Further down, we see 2 units of saboteurs with the Jedber. There's going to be an AT gun, and also the machine gun following up there. That's going to be the Hotchkiss, I believe. Then we have the FFI partisans in there, another partisans further down with a rally squad, and then there's going to be the partisans with an FFI Panard on the bottom side. Over for Gonzo, he has 250-10 on the top with the Panzer Schreck. Further down, it's going to be just some Panzer Grenadiers holding that main road. Panzergrens holding the mid-bottom road, and then the very bottom side is going to be attacked by the 232, 258, Panzer 3M, and a Panzer Grenadier. Now this is looking a little bit light on the ground, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's a recon aircraft that Gonzo is going to be using from the start. That's something he often does. And just on the side of Cadilakor, another Panard has been added to the lineup, and a couple of infantry for this bottom side. There's going to be 2 more rallies. So that's pretty much it. The Demi-Brigade SAS generally can take quite a while to deploy because all of their infantry is quite cheap. And so you tend to have a lot more units on the ground initially than your opponent. And that does take a while to deploy, especially if you're giving them all individually orders. So there we go. That's the orders for Cadilakor here. And it's relatively spread evenly. Like it's an even amount for the top mid road, you've got the bottom mid road, and then the very bottom side here, an even amount. Now Gonzo is going to be pushing hard on the bottom side. He's got the 232, the Panzer 3, and the 258, and all of those in combination can be very strong, especially with the assistance of the recon aircraft. Now this recon aircraft, it will see the traction coming. It will also see the advancement of these 2 DMAs, and that will reveal that there are rallies on the way. And since Gonzo is a very good player, he will be able to identify the units he's going to come up against just based on what he sees from the recon plane. So these FFI DMAs with the 1-star veterancy, definitely rallies, for example. And it's the same way that I know exactly what the units are when they are deployed. So Gonzo going to be seeing that the partisans were unloaded here. You can see that he's already fire positioning actually into the tree line to just stop that from being an issue. Going to push the Panzer Grenadiers in there to make sure he can't get ambushed, and then probably continue to press aggressively on the bottom side. Elsewhere, just going to be the half-tracks assisted by the Panzergrens trying to hold the ground, but the Panhard actually pushing up here. If it finds the half-track, could start to put the pain onto the Panzergrens if they're revealed by rallies. So this could get interesting, especially on the mid sort of area here, where there's just one Panzergren and half-track up against the majority of Cadilakor's units. And the partisans, they have been found. Also the rallies here in the opposite tree line have also been found. They're going to be forced back for the time being. Here comes the Panhard round the corner. That's going to be killed off by the Panzer III. Single shot there is all it took to get the job done. But look at the pain that is being caused. Cadilakor is going to respond with a Panzer IV. And this is quite something. It will require some command, but there is a limited amount of command on the side of the Demi-Brigade for infantry, because these Jedburgh, I think, have a very limited amount. Potentially, I think it's like 2 or 3 on the initial card. If there's 3, then he could definitely bring in one with the Panzer IV, and that's what I was going to suggest. Making sure that this does have at least the 1-star veterancy would be very, very useful for taking on these other units at range. So it doesn't really fall prey to the Panzer IIIM that could still very much kill a Panzer IV at max range. This recon plane coming in very handy, but as we can see across the board, Cadilakor has actually got the lead, 53% with the +1. He's revealed the Panzergrens. The Panhard's going to be able to open up with its Mach 31. And if the half-track tries to come and help, well, the Panhard should be able to kill that. So I think Cadilakor's in a good position to try and break through here. This Storch is in trouble. Cadilakor's purchased a Spitfire Mark 9. And it hasn't used its bomb yet. It's just quite simply trying to kill off the Storch. The Storch is now falling back. Whether or not it gets out in time remains to be seen. But there goes the half-track that was supporting the Panzergrens. And, well, recon aircraft goes down. 257 is now on the field. That's going to be providing some mortar fire to assist in these infantry engagements. 258's also moved across. Probably here looking to kill off the partisans, and Gonzo will be happy to know he's taking care of that, as they can stay behind enemy lines without actually being revealed and just ambush forces on the road, which could get really quite awkward. Now the Spitfire Mark 9 here, it's been forced to fall back by the MU-109 G6R6, and this is really not good news for Cadilakor. The MU-109, can it get on the back of that Spitfire in time? It can. Nice trade there for Gonzo. Recon aircraft for the Spitfire bomber. I think he'll take that. Thank you very much. Pack 38 has been brought in. That's going to be trying to clean up the Panhard, but the ME-109 beats it to it. Very nice kill there actually by Gonzo. Cleaning that up does allow the Panzer Grenadiers to get aggressive once again. Partisans go down. Rallies in the meantime take out a half-track on the bottom side. But yeah, this Pack 38, the simple unit, will change the landscape of this engagement, that's for sure. Because now the 258 and other half-tracks on the side of Gonzo can support infantry against the rallies and Macassars. On the bottom side, it's going to be some Spearthrope. Looks like Gonzo wants more recon since his aircraft got shot down. And that's going to be hopefully accompanying his units here in another push eventually. But so far, Cadilakor is still sitting there with the +1. Macassars have been found. Both the 258 and the 251 engaging. Macassars deciding to fall back. Probably a good job they did, otherwise they would have been pinned down and that would have been a pretty instant surrender. 257 trying to get the better of the Aurelius squads here as the Panzergrens come through the tree line. And yeah, it's really up to Gonzo to make some ground at the moment. So I'm surprised he's not getting a little bit more aggressive, considering the success he's had so far, especially killing that Panhard. But he's kind of waiting, I guess, for the Panzergrenadiers here, for example, to push more aggressively. That way they can reveal the rallies before they kill the 258 with the Panzerfaust. And wow, 2-star Panzergrenadiers there with the 2 MG34s ripping through that squad very quickly indeed. Jedburgh here are behind enemy lines and causing a little bit of territory loss here for Gonzo, which isn't too good for him. We'll be looking to take those out, I'm sure. He did have a brief line of sight, and he does have the speed troop here now, going to be looking for them, so that's going to not get any easier for Cadilakor to hide these Jedburgh. But Jagdpanzer is now on the field. That will prevent any movement from armour on this bottom side for a very long time, and well, I kind of feel like this Panzer III is stuck where it is. It's going to come around the corner, potentially engage, but Gonzo thinks better of that when the Jagdpanzer starts aiming. This Panzergren unit can try and move across the field. Oh, this Panzer III going for the shot, finds the internal fragments onto the Panzer IV. Don't think Gonzo wants to push his luck again against the Jagdpanzer. Wow, that was certainly the shot, wasn't it? Immediately Cadilakor is coming in with the supply to reload that. No surprise, you don't really want your Panzer IV out of action in Phase A. It's a very powerful unit for the Demi-Brigade to use. ME-109 coming in with the strafing run. Looks like Gonzo is ready to just run down the Jedburgh here. Get that surrender, clean up that territory. Hopefully push a +1 in his favour soon enough. And so far, a pretty convincing start for Gonzo. Now, one thing that we do have to consider is as the game progresses, Gonzo will get Panthers in the late game, but Cadilakor will get an abundance of M4A376s. And those are really, really good in this kind of territory because they can get up close and personal with the Panthers, beat them in aim time, and then get the kill, potentially. So Cadilakor may have to fall back onto that if he does lose ground early on, but so far he hasn't really. He's actually got himself a lead of 294 points, which is not a bad start. But since losing the Panhard in the mid, he has lost control here, and on the bottom side things went well for Gonzo from the start. Panzerwerfer coming in now to support this push will be useful for pinning down the Jagdpanzer and the Panzer IV. Also, any form of AT guns can be a target for the Panzerwerfer as well. Another half-track going to be going down there. Didn't see that had recon in it or not, but it was a recon half-track. Anyway, Panzerwerfer, it is actually aiming for the Jagdpanzer, and it looks like Cadilakor may have identified that. So he's actually going to be spreading out both his Panzer IV and the Jagdpanzer here, and well, this is a play that Gonzo's set up, but I don't think it's going to work. He's relying on this Panzerwerfer pinning down the Jagdpanzer and the Panzer IV, but it's pinned down neither, and now the Panzer III is really getting aggressive with the 232. And with the Jagdpanzer completely fine, it can aim at the Panzer III no problem, and should be able to take it out. Also, this Panzer IV easy takes out the 232, and with the 232 dead and no command for the Panzer III, that's only a 2-star Panzer III. Panzergrenadiers, they're going to get pinned down, and the half-track's now dead. Can't help but feel that Gonzo got a little bit impatient there, really wanted to secure a +1, but now may have put himself in a really bad position, because without the armour on the bottom side here, it leaves his artillery very vulnerable to a counter push from Cadilakor. The Panzer IV is definitely getting the better of the Panzer III. Panzer III does actually hit a shot on target, very unlucky not to actually hit the mark, but the Saboteur's coming in there with the 20 HE power TNT, and it forces back the Panzer IV. It panicked, and the Panzer IV found the kill. That was incredible. Nicely done there by Cadilakor to use that HE grenade to force that Panzer III to fall back. Nicely done. Surprised though that Cadilakor is not going aggressive himself, because that was a lot of units that he took out, especially when you think of the 116th and their general availability. Like the 232 Panzer Grenadiers and the half-track gone very, very easily, and then the Panzer III to follow. It's a solid, like 200 points worth of units, roughly. So counter-pushing into that would be a nice idea, especially to take out things like the 257 and the Panzerwerfer. So can't help but Cadilakor might be missing a trick here, but either way, looks like another unit of infantry's gone down there. And well, in the mid, the 258 continued to make ground. It's now bumped into the Pak 38. Can the Pak 38 clean it up? It should be able to force the 258 back before the 258 pins the Pak 38. Maybe not, actually. Oh, the last shot getting the bailout just as it gets pinned down. That's job done. Very nicely done there by Cadilakor. Lucky that shot hit, but either way, a bailout's good enough. As soon as the Pak 38 recovers, it will finish the job. Unless, of course, the MU-109 G6R6 has anything to say about it. Oh, there goes the supply that was reloading the Panzerwerfer and the 257. Cheeky shot there from Cadilakor, looking for the explosion to kill off the half-dragon Panzerwerfer. Gonzo moving them right up close to the tree line so they cannot be spotted. I might try and sneak them behind this tree line, honestly, so that they aren't vulnerable to the road. MU-109 G6R6 coming in once again with a strafing run. Spearthroop have now been found. Rallies basically unloaded in their face. That is not good news. But here comes Gonzo's Jagdpanzer. Since we moved into Phase B, Gonzo has his own. But Jagdpanzers are their own worst enemy. With 12 AP and 14 front armour, Jagdpanzers can't really penetrate each other at maximum range. But both of the tanks on the side of Cadilakor can penetrate a Panzer III, and that seems to be exactly what's happened. Tempest is actually catching up to the ME-109 there and takes it out. Lovely kill there, actually. But here comes the Panzerwerfer. Is it going to get the better of both of these tanks? It does. Jagdpanzer now going to be making a move for it. But the Panzer III with the weapon jam is really not going to be able to do too much. It can only really bait, honestly, for the Jagdpanzer. But what is the Jagdpanzer actually firing at? I hope it's going to be firing at the Panzer IV, because that is the only thing that it can really penetrate. But the Panzer IV seems to have got behind cover, so no shot onto the Jagdpanzer there. Or no shot for the Jagdpanzer. And well, the Jagdpanzer is going to be firing into the front armour of this Jagdpanzer IV, so that's not really going to get anywhere either. It was a lovely Panzerwerfer strike, but I don't think he can utilise it at all. If he starts to fast move up this road, he's going to bump into these rallies that just killed his Spearthroop, so he's kind of prevented from doing so by that fact as well. On the Pak 38 here, it has been pinned down and it is falling back now. Spearthroop also falling back in the mid. This Panzergren really needs to kill off this half-track, but I'm not sure Gonzo is going to notice that, especially with his eyes drawn to this bottom side and keeping an eye on the Jagdpanzer IV falling back. He did actually manage to find the kill onto the Panzer IV here. A really, really good job. Jagdpanzer pays itself off, nearly. So that's good. But now the engagement ensues between the two Jagdpanzers. That is a rally's half-track going down there. The FFI, sorry. New unit of infantry pushing forwards aggressively. Got to be careful it doesn't get taken out by the Pak 38 here. It does, and the infantry squad goes down for free. That is not something you can ever afford as the 116th. Like, losing infantry easily is just not the name of the game at all. However, it looks like the half-track that pushed through here has found itself surrounded. But that means that the Panzergrens are free to kill the rallies. Yes, the half-track will help out a little bit, but the rallies, they're going to be forced to fall back for the time being. Saboteurs, they've come up. They're holding their aim, not going to be using the TNT just yet. Might be able to use it to kill off the 2341, actually. Where's that grenade going? It's going for the 251 half-track. Doesn't get the job done. Saboteurs will most likely be taken out now. And the closer this half-track gets, the more likely it is to be Panzerfaust in the face, so it does need to be pretty careful with how it engages the Panzer Grenadiers here. Gonzo looks like he's going to be trying to deal with that anyway by bringing in the 2, 3, 4, 1. Thunderbolt comes in with its rockets, try and have a go at the Jagdpanzer. Now the tables have turned. Cadilakor's going to have his chance to take out this Jagdpanzer of Gonzo. And well, with the side armor facing, that's going to be a track wheel damage, or wheel destroy even. And that is a sitting duck. However, Gonzo firing back. He's going to be using his Panzerwerfer to try and pin the Jagdpanzer. Currently covered his tank with smoke using the 257. And that means he can get the Opel Blitz munition in range to fix this up. So once again, the tables have turned, and it seems like both players using similar tactics, trying to pin down their opponent's units in order to take advantage of them. But it just depends who comes out on top. Currently, the Jagdpanzer in a bit of a sticky spot, still falling back, and the Panzer III should be able to find a side shot here. Oh dear. Goodbye Jagdpanzer 4, that's a track wheel damage, the 232 coming in close and personal as well, and boom, down it goes. Jagdpanzer dealt with, Gonzo can push on through. So that was pretty much holding him back since phase A, and now he's dealt with it. It's going to be securing the +1 once again, and really giving him a lot of ground. So Gonzo in a very, very nice position here. It seems as though Cadilakor's struggling in phase B due to the lack of income and unit variance. However, as we move into phase C, like I mentioned, the American tanks will be available. The M4s will be coming in, and with the 150 points per minute, that is quite substantial. SAS Chasseur Para try to use the Gammon Bomb here to take out the 2-3-4-1. They do manage to weapon jam the main gun and force it to fall back. I think Gonzo's fortunate that didn't get surrendered, but meanwhile, further up, we see the Panzergrens taking advantage of some rallies here and making even more ground. So now a +2, 58% territory lead for Gonzo. And it's not often you see Gonzo get defeated when he finds a lead, because he is one of those players that ruthlessly takes advantage of the position that he's in, and that's what makes him such a good player. So Cadilakor's kind of got his work cut out, but as mentioned before, phase C may just do the job. So incoming infantry here on the bottom side, some more reinforcements to help the Panzer III and the 2-3 to keep advancing, but I am actually still very surprised to see the Panzer III moving away from the road. You'd think that Gonzo at this point, having got so far, would want to push that little bit further by getting onto that road and fast moving it, especially as soon as these Chasseur Para are out the way, because that was the only AT that was really stopping him from moving forwards. Now this Panhard of course may be an issue, but at close range, 3-star Panzer III should get the job done, or at least you'd think so. Oh, lovely hit there for the Thunderbolt. Comes in with those rockets, slams the Jagdpanzer and actually finds the kill. That is quite something. It looked like a front armor hit as well. Not often you see that. Cadilakor though taking advantage of the 2-star veterancy on that Thunderbolt to get the job done, and wow, that's going to leave Gonzo without a significant tank indeed. But still has the Panzer III, and like I mentioned, it can take on the FI Panhard easily. The Chasseur Para are already being forced back, and you can see the territory moving here, so very real opportunity I think for Gonzo to make a bit more ground. I'm surprised he is being rather conservative, maybe waiting for the Panzerwerfer to be available again so that he can hit the Panhard behind this tree line and go on the offensive again. Me-109 G6R6 comes in. It's going to be going for the Spitfire Mark 9, trying to shoot that down. Tempest, however, will have something to say about that. We'll get on the back of the Me-109 G6R6 and most likely return the kill. But another Spitfire bomber taken care of. I'm sure Gonzo is happy with that. Might be able to save the day with another Me-109. Also does have the Mobilwagen available now, so that might be able to stop any future air engagements. And I think Cadilakor is well aware of the AA capability of Gonzo now, so won't want to force an engagement over that. So, on this bottom side, yeah, again, still actually surprised that Gonzo hasn't been more aggressive here. He could bring the spear troop forward alongside the Panzer III, push aggressively through, but as we can see, we're now into phase C, and potentially Gonzo has decided to dig in, knowing what he's going to come up against. But once again, another wonderful strike there from the Thunderbolt takes out the Panzerwerfer. Due to these saboteurs being in this position, he has perfect recon information onto Gonzo's artillery, and that allowed him to hit that strike to a T. Very nicely done, and takes away that potential for his own units, Cadilakor's units, to be forced to fall back by an artillery strike. So great job there, as it takes away like a lot of Gonzo's sort of game plan. He's definitely not going to have as much success with a mortar, for example, on its own. He'd have to invest into another Panzerwerfer if he has one available. So he's kind of stuck now in this position. Panther G is on the way though, and well, if there's something that can beat M4A376s, it's a Panther G. Now the M4A1 looks like the Panzer III is going to be able to find an engagement onto that. The M4A2 actually hits the first shot onto the Panzer III. I'm pretty sure that Panzer III is quite lucky it didn't take a critical at least. But look at this infantry. Because it cannot be supported by the Panzer III, since it's just outclassed at range, they're going to have to do a runner. And it's back to +1 for Gonzo. So, 742 points on the board for Gonzo. Definitely a significant lead. But if Cadilakor starts to build up his forces, I would not be surprised if a comeback occurs. It just depends if he can get the right units in the right places to take on the units that he's up against. So he's brought in another M4A1, assisted by 2 more units of infantry. Will they be able to push through the middle of the map where he has placed them? We'll have to wait and see. Actually, that's going to come down to the bottom side soon, so I would not be surprised to see the 2 M4A1s get distracted with trying to clean up the Panzer III. Pack 38 actually went down. The FFI Pack 38, that's now dead. 2, 3, 4, 1s, and the Panzer Gren's taking care of that. Also going to be chewing up these rallies, which are coming under a lot of pressure. Look at this salient opening up though. Gonzo could just drive into that if he wanted. And well, with the Panzergrens getting into this building, those rallies are dead. So that's going to solidify the centre of the map even more for Gonzo. I can't really see Gonzo losing this unless, for some reason, the Panther G goes down. I guess there's also potential for Cadilakor to put a little bit more aggression on the top side here. And by doing so, sort of reveal the weakness that is just 2 units of Panzergrens, because there's no armoured support on the top side, so that could be an easy land grab for Cadilakor. These 2 M3 half-tracks, they're going to come under fire by the 2, 3, 4, 1. The M4A1's going to have something to say about that, that's for sure. Going to come around the corner, most likely clean that up, prevent more half-tracks from dying. Unless, of course, it can get out of the way, but nope. That's a one-shot kill. Lovely job indeed. And the Panzer III, it was taken care of, and it looks like this ME-109 is going to get the better of the Thunderbolts. That is a brilliant kill for Gonzo, because those Thunderbolts have been putting a lot of damage onto his units, and getting rid of them will prevent future units from dying in the same fashion. But yeah, the M4A1, it looks like it got the better of the Panzer III, so that's a really, really good job there. Now we've got an abundance of fighters on the side of Gonzo, though, going for the strafing runs, which may allow this Panther G to just easily engage that M4 in the future. Now you're probably looking at this engagement, Panther G versus M4, what could go wrong for Gonzo? Well, a close range engagement could still mean that the M4 finds a kill onto a Panther. So, if anything, this M4 could just prevent Gonzo from making more ground for the time being, whilst Cadilakor focuses elsewhere. Because it's very difficult for Gonzo to cover the entire map with the armour that he has. I think he will probably have 2 Panthers on his division, that's what I'm thinking. And if that's the case, then he could only really cover like the mid and bottom side at the same time. He would have to rely on lighter armor elsewhere, or like his medium armor like the Panzer IIIs, and that's what he's going to be doing on the top side. Going to be bringing in a Panzer III here to support this infantry, because it is taking a beating just due to the half tracks causing issues. Now we have the Thunderbolt coming in again. That's going to be going for the 2-3-4-1 there. Does find itself forced to fall back. Me109G0. Can it get on the back of the Thunderbolt? I think there's potential here, it will, but it's actually going to get shot down. I think that was the 50 cows from the M4A1 potentially picked up the kill there. Those Me109G0s don't really have much strength to them, so easily shot down. And that's unfortunate for Gonzo. It had already taken quite a lot of damage from the initial engagement with the Thunderbolt, so that's why it was already oil leaking. And here comes another one of those Thunderbolts, and I don't think I've seen like Thunderbolts used so well in quite a while. They've really taken out some really important units, like the Jagdpanzer went down, the Panzerwerfer has gone down, and now just taking out these units that are causing salience is important for Cadilakor to regain ground. And Cadilakor has actually found himself a +1, so is getting a lot of points on the board now, and as you can see, it will be a draw if it continues like this until the end of the game. Now Gonzo's cleaning up some infantry. He's now got the support of another half-track. He's got the Panzer III coming in. It's not going to stop this half-track from surrendering those Panzergrens though, and that's really why he brought that Panzer III in the first place. So that's kind of sucky. He's not going to enjoy that at all. On the bottom side, Panther G, is it going to go down? It is! Double whammy from the M4A1. 2-point engagement. Panther G didn't know which way to face. Job well done. So it looked like initially the M4 managed to get the engine destroy critical onto the Panther G, which left it very vulnerable to the flank from this M4A1. Cadilakor made it happen, and job done. Panther G goes down, and now a bunch of Gonzo's units are extremely vulnerable, and you can see Gonzo knows it. He's trying to cover it off with the Me109 strafing runs, but it may not be enough. The M4A1 can quite simply continue to drive forwards here, run down the Mobilwagen and the 257, get the job done. 231, that's now dead. It looks like the Panhard took care of that. And now, some more tanks coming into the top side. M4A376, another M4A1, and those should make short work of the Panzer III up here. Panzer IV has now come onto the field. That's going to have to try and help out in the centre. Meanwhile, Me109G0 trying to get on the back of the Tempest, but the Tempest too fast. Actually going to get out of range before it can be shot down. +2 now for Cadilakor. So, found the kill he needed. Got that Panther down. And now Gonzo's in trouble with a +2 to his name. Cadilakor will win the game in 10 minutes and 30 seconds. But if these units fall on the bottom side, the Mobilwagen and the 257, then I feel that Gonzo is going to be losing to a +3 or even a +4 shortly. Nice kill there onto some Panzergrens, just cleaning them up. And it's going to get to the point where Gonzo's infantry availability runs out, because without the support of armoured vehicles, the infantry does die very quickly, and that's what started to happen on the top side till the Panzer III arrived. But Mobilwagen, that's now gone. 257, probably just going to end up surrendering, if not getting killed by the machine gun there. Panzer IV now trying to engage the M4. So there is a supply truck behind enemy lines, but I'm sure that will either be captured or killed soon enough. Elsewhere, M4A3 in position, M4A1 covering some armoured rifles advance. Another Panther G on the way. So this will be the second one I mentioned. Going to try and cover this bottom side road. We'll get line of sight onto the F5 Panhard, potentially. Does have attack move, so should see it. And that should be a dead armoured car, never mind. does manage to pull off the road just in time. You can imagine the crew going, Panther! And just like, hard right. The driver just like swerves off the road to avoid it. Doesn't manage to get a shot at. Cadilakor just going to be pulling in there, staying safe for the time being. P-47 Thunderbolt coming in once again. Actually quite a significant strike taking out this infantry. These 2-star infantry from Phase A, been in that position for the majority of the game, now taken care of, will open up a huge salient if they go down. So just really, really precise and calculated strikes from these Thunderbolts have helped out Cadilakor massively throughout this game. Now these Panzergrens still getting the better of the armoured rifles. You cannot count Panzergrens out. But look at this, the M4A1, it's getting the better of the Panzer IV. Got a track wheel damage, Panzer IV goes down. And that is not good news at all. Salient, massive salient opening up here for Cadilakor. That could push to a +3 shortly. Another Thunderbolt strike's going to hit that Panzer III very hard indeed. Tempest coming in with a strafing run onto the Panzergrens. If he can remove these last 2 units on the top side, then that's going to get even better. So currently, Cadilakor in the driving seat of this match after a very rough start. In Phase B, I wasn't sure that Cadilakor would be able to come back, but I don't think Gonzo could really reinforce himself quickly enough, with the division that he has in order to hold back the 150 points per minute that the FFI can take advantage of in Phase C. That's really been the story of the game. These M4s coming in and doing a ton of damage and really cleaning house. Also the Thunderbolts, the kill onto the Jagdpanzer, the kill onto the Panzerwerfer, taking away the key components of Gonzo's pushes was just like perfect. So really well done by Cadilakor. Like initially was very worried for him, but has managed to bring it back nicely. Tempests here getting the better of the ME-109s. Looks like he's going to control the skies once again. And well, unfortunately, it looks like this Panther G may be in a spot of bother soon. There is an M5 gun coming up the main road here. We're going from tree line to tree line. And then we've got an M4A1 that has the potential to engage at close range. But if the Panzerschreck actually takes out the M4A1, there won't be much other armour to really contest the Panther G. So I feel like Cadilakor is going to have to do something about that. Anyway, half track goes down. Panther's going to be pushing aggressively upward towards the M4A1. He will have eyes on it due to the Panzerschreck. And with his 2-star veterancy, should be able to win. 2-3-2 though. Doesn't want to lose that. He does. It's going to take away the veterancy from the Panther G. Now the Panther G is just still trying to hunt this M4A1. Panzerschreck's actually just going to be running forwards here. Doesn't want to get that killed by the machine guns though, if he can help it. I feel like the way that Gonzo tried to engage the M4 was not good at all, honestly. And now he's stuck in a really awkward position here because you don't want to engage that close with an M4A1. His Panzergrens could come back maybe and like try and kill this with a Panzerfaust. Trying to rely on the Panzerschreck currently. It still might work, but the Panzerschreck's not on an attack move order. This is devastating. That M4A1's going to be able to get the machine gun on target and the Panzerschreck goes down. Come on, Gonzo. It's unfortunate. Panther G takes a shot at the armoured rifles. M4A1 still sitting here doing loads of damage. And well, Gonzo's had enough. That's going to be a surrender. He's too far behind. And well, 34 minutes and 58 seconds is how long it took Cadilakor to win the first game against Gonzo. I'm not sure many of you were expecting that, but 3,272 kills, or 75 kills, sorry, to 1,890 losses. Very, very well played by Cadilakor. Surprising result, honestly. I think Gonzo was definitely the favourite going into this best of 3. And having won the first game, it definitely gives Cadilakor a strong chance of moving on to the semi-finals. So good on him. Really definitely proved a point here using a decent division on a decent map. And ruining Gonzo's chances with the 116th. So yeah, not often you see Gonzo beat on that division, but job well done. Jagdpanzer initially really blunted Gonzo's aggression. Gonzo found the way to make it fall back with the Panzerwerfer, but couldn't quite find the kill due to himself relying on a Jagdpanzer to kill that off. So yeah, that kill just didn't come through when it needed to. The Panzer IV ended up killing the Panzer III. Again, Panzer III couldn't find the kill onto the Panzer IV because it ended up falling back behind the tree line. It did eventually go down to the Jagdpanzer, I think, but there we go. Tempests killing off the Me-109s was good. The use of the Air Force was fantastic. This Thunderbolt killing the Panzerwerfer and the 2341 there. And then we had another kill off the Jagdpanzer. This Thunderbolt. But look at these M4s. I mentioned how in Phase C the M4s could make the difference in this kind of terrain, and well, would you look at that? That is a Panther G kill, Mobile Wagen, Panzer IV, there's Panzer III in there, 2341, 232. That's a lot of kills for one of those M4A1s. A couple more plane kills there for another Tempest, but yeah. Managed to hold on. Cadilakor didn't lose enough ground early to make it impossible to come back, and then played the comeback very well indeed. Lovely stuff. Really, really nice first game between these two. Will Gonzo let this stand though? We'll have to wait and see in the second game. Gonzo will not be wanting to drop out in the quarterfinals, that's for sure. But I think we've got a decent series on our hands. In the meantime though, that's all. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.